Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you're watching this. Welcome to another episode of Auto Insights. Na kama mnavyoona leo tuko na set ingine mzuri sana. Nimewaletea rafiki yangu ambaye ni expert in terms of debunking myths. Na nataka kuambia anytime unaona hii background hapa nyuma inamaanisha tunakuwa class ama tunapitia mambo ambayo ni theory. Sana sana kama leo tutaongelea mambo ya myths, zile vitu watu wanadhani ni ukweli lakini unapata ni kama ni story ya jaba. So Auto Insights is the ultimate destination for car enthusiasts and consumers, na ndio maana tunafanya hii. Ndio either kama umenunua gari ama unamezea mate gari, usienda kufanya mambo ambayo watu wanafanya lakini hayafai kufanywa. And so I want to thank all those people who are watching from YouTube. Thank you for 625 subscribers. Bado tuko jani ya 1000 subscribers. Na kama una watch for the first time and you have not subscribed, usitoke kama uja subscribe. Make sure kama uko na rafiki mwenye unajua anapenda magari, unamsaidia kumpatia link ama namna gani. And so those who are watching on TV, GTN TV, tunataka kusema as Auto Insights, usikuja tu uone Auto Insights alafu unatoka unaenda channel ingine. Make sure GTN TV iko na program lineup ambayo ina cater for each and everyone. Wewe usijali miaka yako, each and everyone ako catered. For example, leo after Auto Insights, immediately after Auto Insights tutakuwa na interlude kidogo, and then tutakuwa na news za saa moja, and then exactly at 7:30 tutakuwa na watu wa politics. Tutakuwa na kipindi inaitwa Third Shioteti, na tutapelekwa na rafiki yangu Waithaka wa Kenya. So kama ulielect MP, Senator, Governor, MCA, na watu wote unaona hawafanyi kazi, wanaletangu hapa kwa hiyo show, and then they are grilled. Wanaulizwa, hiyo miaka umekuwa kwa kiti, what have you done for your people? And then upande wa mapenzi around 11 PM hapo tutakuwa na Waithira Tata wa Nairobi. Atatupeleka kipindi atuelezee mambo ya relationships. Kama uko kwa relationship na kusaidia kuingia kwa relationship. Kama already uko kwa relationship na iko on a bumpy road, tunawasaidia kuspice up your relationship. Kama huyu jamaa hapa tunasikia ako single, so inamaanisha leo ikifika saa 5 make sure umeona hiyo kipindi, ndio ujue vile utamanuva hiyo nini sector ya relationship. So thank you so much for the continued support, na sitaongea mengi, ndio rafiki yangu aweze ku take us through the show. Takuacha ndio you do the introduction, and then ulikuwa umeandika 8 myths, nitakuongezea moja, story ya exhaust. Nasikianga watu wanasema ukiweka exhaust loud kwa gari yako ama ati ikifunguka kidogo inamaanisha gari yako inapata more power. Sijui kama ni ukweli, tutaacha yeye atatujibu. So instead of 8 nimekupatia bonus, utawapatia 9. 9 myths debunked today. So thank you so much for your support. Tune in to GTN TV. Tuendelee kuenjoy Auto Insights. Welcome back to Auto Insights, and my name is Mayson Juguna, and today we are going to be diving into part 2 of our myth busting series. So last time we busted some myths, including yenye watu wanasemanga ati lori ikiwa inaenda na 60, gari ndogo lazima iende na 80 ndio ziende the same speed. That is just one of them. So kama huku watch hiyo, make sure umeenda umeitafuta pale YouTube. So the world of cars inakuanga full of half truths, outdated beliefs, straight up lies. Zingine tu ni stories za jaba. But today I just want you to buckle up so that we just try and clear the air once again. Na tukianza na myth ya kwanza inasema you need to let your car warm up before driving or you're going to damage the engine. So this advice made sense back in the day when cars had carburetors, okay? So those engines, they needed time to warm up so that tuseme the air and fuel mixture ziweze kubalance out properly. But in today's cars, that's a whole different story because modern engines zinakuanga fuel injected, ama ile ukisikia mtu anasema the term EFI. EFI ni zile engines zilikuja hazitumii carburetor. So most of those engines zinakuanga controlled by what we call onboard computers. Na hizo onboard computers, you see the moment you start your vehicle, sensors placed conveniently in different part of the engine zitakuwa zina relay information to that onboard computer so that information yenyewe computer ina receive, it is able to adjust the fuel and air mix based on for example the temperature, altitude and other parameters. So hiyo engine unapata hizo sensors zote zikipatia computer information, zinaambia temperature inasema iko hivi, altitude iko hivi and other parameters. The engine is going to regulate the amount of fuel and air yenye inaingia kwa engine so that ijue what percentage iko best to get the engine running as efficiently as possible during the shortest time possible. But there is a catch. So tunasemanga ukigurumisha gari, do not speed off, usipe pressure, usifinye, drive gently for the first 3 to 5 minutes. Na tunasemanga that light driving niyo ndio ina warm up the engine pamoja na transmission and other components zenye ziko kwa gari faster than just sitting idle. Sitting idle so that the car gets to optimum temperature. Let's say it's not good. Think of it like this. Idling is like ni kama kustretch ukiwa kwa kitanda. Your heart rate is not going to increase. But the moment umetoka kwa hiyo kitanda umesimama hapo kando ya kitanda, just that action ya kusimama, you will feel your heart rate ita increase kidogo. So hiyo kusimama ama kutembea kwa room, hiyo ndio the same na slow driving. So kustretch ukiwa kwa kitanda, hiyo ni the same na idling. You're not going to the vehicle is not going to get temperature as quickly ama the same way it would kama una drive pole pole. So a bonus tip I'd give hapo kwa idling na hizo mambo za waiting for the car to reach optimum temperature. Do not let your car idle for too long because kitu ya kwanza you're going to waste fuel. Kwa sababu if your engine is cold, umegurumisha gari saa hii after imelala nje, tumesema kuna sensors ambazo zinapatia computer information. So for example here temperature itaambia computer it is very cold. So the engine will try to receive more fuel so that more fuel means ignition okay, not ignition per se, tuseme hapo kwa combustion. By the way, kama huelewi mambo ya combustion and what not, I talked about the 4 cycles of combustion in the other video. So enda upitie hiyo hapo mahali tulikuwa tunaongelea vipa so that you understand the 4 cycles of combustion ndio uweze kuelewa hapa. So tumesema sensor ikisema temperature is very cold, the engine, the onboard computer yenye control engine, it's going to try and compensate. So what, by compensating itajaribu kuongeza more fuel into the mix, so that hiyo more fuel means combustion itakuwa juu, so the explosion yenye huwa ina happen time ya combustion itakuwa higher. So inajaribu kutoa heat from using excess fuel, and that is now wastage, of which hiyo fuel ungeisave kama drive off slowly, for the first 3 to 5 minutes. So at the same time you're idling, you're going to be wearing engine components faster than they should have. So kama ni rings na hizo vitu zote zenye zina move, the moving parts, they're going to be wearing faster than they would venye unaacha gari yako iki idle for long, just to let it get to optimum temperature. Especially kwanza hawa watu wako na new engines, hizi gari zenye ziko na catalytic converters. So a catalytic converter works by kuna catalyst inakuanga pale ndani, and huwa ina attract those harmful emissions zenye zinakuwa zikitoka kwa engine after combustion. So zikitrapiwa, the catalytic converter ikitumia principle ya chemistry ya catalyst inafaa kufika a certain temperature, so that those harmful emissions zikuwe burned off, zinatoka zikiwa carbon, CO2, alafu some of it inatoka ikiwa maji. But sasa ikikosa kufika temperature yenye inafaa kuoperate, ama the correct temperature yenye the emissions zinaweza kuwa burned off, what is going to happen is zinakuja zinaanza tu kujaa hapo, zina collect, and so nini yako ikicollect ijae to a certain point, unapata gari inakuonesha starts drawing codes hapo kwa dashboard, and then inaanza kuleta other issues. So kama watu wako na gari ziko na EGR, exhaust gas recirculation and such, DPF na nini, you're going to be having issues on your car, and it's not a cheap fix. So do not let your car idle for long, so that you do not waste fuel, you do not wear your components faster than they should, and also you do not clog your catalytic converters and the DPFs. So the final word, naweza sema, you can drive off right after starting, just don't be aggressive. Mambo ya red line, save it for later after gari imefikia temperature. So myth number 2 inasema premium fuel gives better performance in any car. So last time tuliongelea kuhusu V-Power, and V-Power is a type of racing fuel. It's not a racing fuel per se, but it's among rating yake ya octane iko around among racing fuel. So premium is a bit different from V-Power. So premium in terms of octane number, it will be higher than regular petrol. And kusema ati premium fuel will give better performance in any car, utakuwa umeanguka mtihani vibaya sana. So again, if you did not watch the other video, pitia hapo kwa V-Power, so that you will understand kitu tutaongelea hapa mbele, mambo ya high compression. So the truth is, premium sounds powerful, but sana sana it's just branding. So what really matters kwa mafuta inakuanga ni the octane rating, and not every engine, just like the other video tulisema, not every engine needs the higher number ya octane. So premium fuel has a higher octane rating, meaning in terms of knocking na pre-ignition itakuwa more resistant than normal fuel. So that kind of fuel, premium fuel, is only useful for high compression engines. Again, hizi vitu zote tuliziongelea kwa the other video. The difference now is that atuongelei V-Power, tunaongelea premium fuel. So now mambo ya compression I explained all the cycles za combustion na pia tukaongelea mambo ya compression. So gari iko na turbo kwa sababu inatumia forced induction. Forced induction ni compressing air to increase the percentage of oxygen and make combustion better. Hiyo inamaanisha hiyo gari itakuwa na a higher stroke in terms of pale kwa piston na cylinder. It is going to need a higher stroke so that it gives enough room for that extra compressed air. Hiyo ndio tunaita high compression. And so for a turbocharged engine, ukiweka mafuta ya kawaida normally that compression, tuseme this is the top of the block na hii ndio piston. So ikiwa hapa ikishuka and then the fuel and air imeingia sasa, wakati inaenda kucompress irudi juu, this movement ya piston, you are going to be creating a lot of heat, and sometimes unapata kama hiyo fuel is basic fuel, by the time piston inafika hapa katikati, because of that heat, hiyo fuel isha detonate ama isha combust. Hapo sasa ndio tunaitanga knocking ama pre-ignition. So now the difference between regular fuel na premium. Premium sasa inaelekea side za kina V-power. Si the same, but it doesn't have as high octane count kama V-power, but it's higher than regular fuel. So premium fuel, it's going to be powerful enough to hold your compression. The temperature na hiyo compression itaweza withhold until a spark is introduced pale top. So mambo ya knocking is not going to be happening for those high compression engines. Sawa sawa. So kama gari yako was not designed to run on regular okay, let me say if your car was designed to run primarily on regular fuel, kuijaza na premium, it's not going to give you more power, it's not going to give you better fuel economy, na pia haita reduce emissions. Your engine will never suddenly perform better because you paid more at the pump. It does not work like that. Ni kama kupatia athlete, hao watu wananyona kimbianga, unampatia supplements zenye wahitaji, ama for example kukula cabbage ndio upate nguvu. No, cabbage is roughage. Hakuna venye inaweza kuwa carbohydrates. So that is almost the same example. So your car's ECU ni the engine computer. Ile computer ina control fueling, mambo ya ratio ya fuel to air mixture na hizo vitu zote. Mostly zinakuanga tuned for specific fuel type. Okay? So when you put premium in a car that is meant for regular fuel, ndio nakwambia ni kama the same na kula cabbage expecting to have energy, to have extra energy. It's not going to work. So make sure you use the correct amount of fuel. Sorry. Make sure you use the correct fuel so that your car runs optimally. Kama unatumia gari ya iko na high compression, iko na turbo, make sure you use high octane fuel, especially premium, kuelekea kina V-power. Kama haina high compression engine ama haina turbo, please just use regular fuel. Myth number 3 inasema electric cars are worse for the environment because of battery production. So this myth is rooted in a partial truth. Tunaweza sema, electric cars zina create more emissions upfront. What do I mean by upfront? When an electric car is being manufactured pale kwa factory, that same factory yenye ina manufacture electric vehicles that are supposed to reduce emissions, kuna manufacturing of batteries and many other components that make an electric vehicle function. And so hiyo process inakuanga kubwa compared to factory yenye inatengeneza gari zenye zina run on engines. So pale upfront, the electric vehicle, it will already have a bigger environmental footprint in terms of emissions. Okay? But the internal combustion engine haitakuwa na the same footprint in terms of emissions pale kwa factory. We are talking about the factory. Bado gari hazijatoka kwa factory zikaenda kurun, okay? But now the moment that internal combustion engine imetoka imeanza kwenda kwa barabara after it's been manufactured, every day that it's running inatoa emissions. Okay? Na usisahau bado the same factory inaendelea kuunda gari zingine, bado inatoa emissions pamoja na gari yenye iliundwa kwa hiyo factory. So both are still going to be emitting emissions zenye ni harmful to our ozone layer. But the electric vehicle, ukiangalia poa, only the factory part ndio inatoa emissions. But sasa the moment this electric vehicle imeenda kwa barabara, it is going to, in terms of emission savings, it is going to catch up. Okay? It's going to catch up na ita overtake the traditional internal combustion engine car, especially kama inachajiwa mahali wanatumia renewable energy. Mahali wanatumia renewable energy, for example, the windmills. The windmills are those big turbines zenye zina rotate through the power of wind, and then they create electricity. So let's say we have such zimejaa mahali kuna charging stations. So that means hizo gari electric zinachajiwa na renewable energy. So meaning hata emissions zinaenda zikidrop even further compared to the internal combustion engines. Okay? So final word on that, naweza sema electric vehicles are not perfect, but over their full life, wakati zime roll off from the factory, all their life from the production to the end of their use, they are generally much cleaner than fossil fuel vehicles. So long term, they are better for the planet and they are not worse. So I hope hapo nimejibu the correct way. Myth ya 4 inasema more expensive engine oil is better for your car. Now, that is not necessarily true, and price does not equal performance. That is a fact. What matters most is, are you using the right oil for your engine? Unaweza kuwa uko na gari ya petro, umeenda umenunua the most expensive oil, hata hujajua kama ni ya petro ama ni ya diesel, umeenda umeweka. Hiyo si umeharibu gari. So definitely price does not equal performance. Na nimesema what matters the most is using the right oil for your engine. Now, here's the deal. Some engine oils zinakwanga ziko expensive kwa sababu kuna zile tunasemanga ziko fully synthetic. Fully synthetic ni ile yenye kabisa kabisa from the start it has been made by chemicals kabisa. Kila kitu ni additives na nini. Unapata hadi additives zenye imeongezwa ni unasikianga kuna engine oil ukiweka inaenda ku clean the engine. So hizo ni additives. Unapata kuna oils that can work even in extreme conditions. So kama wale watu wanakaa kwa snow, watu wanaendesha gari zao in terms of racing, watu wanafanya towing, watu wako na turbocharged engines, unapata such oils zenye ziko expensive, they are able to be applied in those, high performance ama extreme conditions. But for most daily drivers, spending more does not always mean that your engine is going to run better. So your car's manufacturer already anakuanga amekwambia, what oil to use, the right viscosity. Viscosity ni hapo mahali ushaisoma oil, kuna mahali kunakuwa kumeandikwa kitu kama 5W-30, hiyo ni mambo ya viscosity. Na pia manufacturer anafaa kuambia, does your car need synthetic oil ama the other type of oil? Okay, so using ultra expensive oil does not match your car's need. Ni kama kuvalia designer sneakers zenye ni kama 2 sizes smaller than what you wear. So you have paid more but you're not helping anything. Kuna mahali zinakusaidia hizo sneakers. So using the wrong oil, even hata kama ni top shelf hiyo ya the expensive type of oil, you can do more harm than good over some time. So inaweza affect mambo ya lubrication, wear na hadi fuel economy. You know, when hapo kwa lubrication, when you are moving parts zina struggle kumove, mambo ya fuel economy pia inaweza kuwa affected. So final word, make sure you follow the manual, not the marketing. Yes, usiangalie advertisement useme niliona hii kwa TV nasema inafanya hivi na hivi na hivi. So you go and buy it because it's expensive thinking that you are going to help your engine. Hapana. Follow the manual, not the marketing. The best oil ni ile yenye your engine was built for, not the one with the fanciest label or the highest price tag. So be keen on that, kwa sababu hiyo ni kitu inaweza waletea hadi catastrophic damage to your engine. So we're going to take a short break. Tukirudi, we are going to go through the other myths. So welcome back. Let us continue with our class. The fifth myth inasema manual cars are always more fuel efficient than automatics. That used to be true, but not anymore. So back in the day, manuals zilikuwa more fuel efficient kwa sababu the early automatics were simple and less precise. They had less, they had fewer gears na pia zilikuwa zina shift slower. So having less gears, for example, you find a 4-speed automatic. So iko na gear 4, 1, 2, 3, ya mwisho ni 4. So unapata hiyo 4 at around 100 kilometers per hour, gari inachezea around 3000 RPM. So you see it's going to be consuming a lot of fuel compared to modern vehicles za sahi. For example, the Ford Ranger, the 2024 kuelekea juu, the ones with the 10 speed. 10 gears means at 100 kilometers per hour gari yako inaweza kuwa ikicheza hata around 1500 RPM, which is 1500 RPM ni around hata ni kama idle ya gari zingine. So it's not going to be consuming as much fuel as the car with less gears. Alafu pia, those old transmissions wanazitanga slash box. Slash maanisha very slow. Zilikuwa zinajikokota. So na imagine gari shifting from gear 1 to 2. It's taking ages. So meaning gari unapata the RPMs za first gear inakaa karibu ifikie rev limiter. So uses a lot of fuel. From second to third inakaa kwa revs kutoka 2k mpaka rev limiter ndio iende gear 3 using a lot of fuel and so on. So today's automatics tunaweza sema ziko on another level, zina shift faster Ziko na more ratios kama hivyo nimesema, Ford Ranger with the 10 speed and modern automatics, especially CVTs. I don't like talking about CVTs. I really hate continuously varying transmissions in terms of driving feel, but in terms of emissions, in terms of fuel economy, they are going to be very good. That's what they are designed for, really. And dual clutch gearboxes zenye zina shift very fast. The 8 to 10 speed automatics zimekuwa incredibly smart. They shift faster, they are more efficient than even what a human can do on a manual. So zingine hata by the way tumeona, like in the Scanias zenye zina learn your driving style, zina adapt over time, so it knows kama unataka kufinya ama unataka kuchill tu. A skilled driver can squeeze a better mileage from a manual car na tunasema ni only in ideal conditions, but most people hawezi drive manual in ideal conditions na the way it's supposed to be driven. Si kila mtu anaweza shift perfect, anasoma RPM ana shift perfect, kama ni wakati wa mteremko anaweka the right gear nini hauwezi kuwa perfect. Na ndio tunasema even the most skilled driver saa hii ni ngumu sana a bit fuel economy automatic. Okay, so automatic siku hizi zina outperform manuals in real world fuel economy mbaya sana. Kwanza especially in traffic, ama on, when you're going for long highway trips, automatics are going to outperform the manuals. Na siku hizi it's no longer about the gear stick, it's about the technology behind the transmission. So don't always assume that manuals zinakuanga ati more economical. In 2025 automatic siku hizi bana ziko built to sip fuel si kugulp. So sixth myth inasema washing your car with regular detergent or dish soap is perfectly fine. Ukitumia dish soap, why would you use dish soap? Let's say now for example, umeenda mahali ulikuwa umepeleka gari kwa garage and then imepata some grease na oil on the bodywork. Some people may use detergent ama Omo, Toss, whatever brand yenye anatumia, to make it look cleaner and iweze cut through that grease. But tuseme detergent is one of the worst things you can use on your car's paint. Sawa. Now, detergent is going to cut through your grease ama hiyo oils, hizo oils na hizo uchafu zote related to, those greasy related dirts. But zinakuanga very aggressive, especially for car surfaces. Okay? So when you use it on your car, kitu ya kwanza itakuwa ina strip, kuna layer inakuanga kama protective wax, a coating that manufacturers use. So that detergent is going to strip away that protective wax. Na kama gari yako iko na plastic trims along the doors and what not, sometimes you will notice zimeanza kufade. Mostly ni juu ya kutumia hizo Omo, Toss and whatever. Pia rubber seals, they may start cracking. Kama ni clear coat inaanza kupeel, you start finding some yellow blemishes on the paint kwa sababu ya kutumia those detergents. You may not see the damage immediately, but doing it repeatedly, kutumia hizo harsh soaps, detergents, you may get faded paint, brittle plastic parts, brittle plastic parts. Brittle meaning parts za plastic zenye zinaanza tu crack tu ovyo ovyo, ukiguza tu ina crack kwa sababu imesha kuwa weak. Alafu sasa ile surface yenye sasa umetumia hiyo omo, hiyo toss, hiyo detergent, hiyo dish soap, unapata hata inaanza kupata uchafu faster than before, kwa sababu sasa the protective wax already ama sealant ishakuwa stripped away. So what should you use instead ndio usipatane na hizi mashida? So a proper car wash, a proper car wash shampoo is recommended. So kuna hizi car wash ambazo zinakuanga wanafanya hizi mambo za detailing. Ukienda unapatanga they don't use normal soap to wash your car. You'll find some pink, blue, whatever color liquids they are using. But hizo ni specific to car paint. They are not going to be stripping protective layers zenye manufacturer aliweka. So final word, if you kama huwezi osha uso yako na omo, tafadhali usioshe gari yako na omo. Paint needs care. Sawa does not need punishment. So kuna myth number 7 inasema when replacing just 2 tires, the new ones should go on the front because that's where the steering happens. This is actually funny because kuna driver tulikuwa tunaongea na yeye some time back, alikuwa ananiambia the front tires wear more than the rear tires. Now, history ya using the new tires on the fronts alafu za nyuma zinabaki tu, una replace za mbele kwanza kwa sababu hapo ndio steering ina happen. It might seem logical at first, but it is dangerously wrong. Now, putting new tires on the front, inaweza improve steering grip, but assume if the rear tires are worn, you are setting yourself for a spin, especially kama conditions ziko, wet. So if uko na bahati mbaya and your rear tire loses traction before the front ones, na wewe hujai drift, hujui mambo ya kudrift, let me tell you, your car is going to fishtail or spin out. Unapata the rear end imetoka hivi nje kidogo. Hiyo it's very hard to, kurudisha gari kwa barabara. When it does that, it's very hard kuirudisha kwa barabara. Even experienced drivers, most of the time unapata huwa wana struggle. So kama ni front tires zime lose traction, it is a bit easier to regain control, saa ingine by easing off the throttle ama steering gently. But sasa iki lose traction nyuma, tricky sana. So hapo kwa hiyo myth nazasema the safer option, always put the new or better tires on the rear. Sawa. Even hata kama una gari yako ni front wheel drive, make sure the better condition tires zimeenda nyuma. So for front wheel drive cars, someone might argue that those front wheels are the ones that are driving the car forward, ama they are pulling the car forward. But sasa usisahau, in a front wheel drive, those two wheels mbele, they are the same ones that are going to pull the car forward and also zina handle mambo ya steering. So assume, ukitaka kuelewa vizuri, make sure umeelewa hivi. The fronts mostly they will be best in terms of steering, but nyuma itakuwa mambo ya traction. So good rear grip, keeps the car planted and inaifanya ikuwe predictable, especially when in the rain, ama when you're cornering, ama when you're doing emergency maneuvers. It's going to be very important to have good tires in the rear of your car. Now, the final word for this, I'd say the front wheels are for control, the rear wheels are for survival. Sawa. Now, the grip at the back keeps you in line. Your car will be going straight. Haitafanya hizo mambo ya kufishtail, especially when it's in the wet and you're turning into a corner. So unless you are replacing all four, the new tires should always go on the rear. Okay? Na najua hiyo italeta debate kubwa sana, and I'd like to see what you guys think about that. Now, kuna hii story ya around the same, tukiongelea kuhusu front wheel drive, rear wheel na whatever. Kuna hii myth ya all wheel drive makes you invisible in the rain, mud or snow. Watu wa Audi, kujeni hapa, watu wa quattro. Quattro means four wheel drive in Audi language. Now, all wheel drive is going to get you going in slippery conditions, but it does not help you to stop or turn any better than a two-wheel drive car, regardless ya whether ni front wheel ama ni rear wheel. Kuwa na AWD haimaanishi ati you are going to stop better than how wasiwa front wheel ama rear wheel. Now, all-wheel drive huwa ina send power to all four wheels na inakupatia traction when you are accelerating. Now, especially kama ulikuwa you're on a standstill and the ground is, tuseme uko mahali umeenda ushago, kuna matope ama kuna loose surface. An all-wheel drive from standstill is going to perform better than a front-wheel drive equipped vehicle ama a rear-wheel drive equipped vehicle. Now, all-wheel drive zinakuanga better for climbing muddy slopes, pulling out of a snowy driveway kwa wenye wanapatanga snow. But now, here's the catch. All-wheel drive does not improve braking or cornering grip. Stopping distance ya gari yako ina depend na tires zenye unatumia, kama ni all terrains, kama ni on roads ama ni za off road. So it depends on the tires that you're using. Now, kama tires zako hazina grip, whether your car is all wheel drive or not, bado you are going to slide for some distance. Kama gari yako is not equipped with big brakes ama good brakes, even if you have all-wheel drive system on your vehicle, it does not change how your braking is going to perform. So, the same goes for slick roads. You might enter the corner fast, but the all-wheel drive will not help you stay on the road if you overdo it. It has an extent. So, kama ni bad weather, what matters? Number one, good quality all-season tires. Number two, braking distance. So braking distance, hiyo lazima kwanza utest gari yako ujue if it does not have high performance brakes. Wakati umekanyanga brakes za suddenly, how fast does it stop, so that you know what to do when you're in bad weather. Usiende tena ukuwe unakanyanga brakes in wet conditions and then you're stomping, umekanyanga yote. So what matters most in bad weather? Now, tires. Your choice of tires is going to matter a lot in bad weather. Huwezi enda na road tires wakati umeenda mahali kuna matope ama kuna loose surfaces. The second thing you have to know is braking distance. Okay, so you need to understand the braking distance that your car has, so that wakati uko kwa bad weather, those wet conditions na nini, so that you know when do I start braking, so that pia usianze kuslide all over the road. Okay, so the third point naweza peana ni driver caution. Do not overestimate your car's ability. Unaenda kupiga kona na 100 kilometers per hour, 200 kilometers per hour, na pengine wewe ndo una overestimate how your car's ability, your handling na nini. Do not do that. So the final word here, all-wheel drive will help you to go, but it's not going to help you to stop. So don't let it give you a false sense of confidence. Unajua sasa watu wa all wheel wanafikirianga ni four wheel. It's not the same. So all wheel drive is just like a tool. It's not a superpower. So those are 8 myths. Nimemalizia. Ukiangalia kwa list yangu hapa nimemalizia. But nilikuwa nimeambiwa niongee kuhusu louder exhausts. Ati louder exhaust is equals to more power and such things. Hizo ni vitu nimesikia pia mimi kwa ground, Now, because your car is sounding like a race car does not mean it is faster. So using a louder exhaust, it's not going to automatically mean at more horsepower, more torque. By the way, in most cases, the moment umechange exhaust ya gari yako bila kufuata the correct procedure ama calculations, it can make your car perform worse, not better. Okay? Let's break it down this way. So number one, hapo kwa sound is equals to speed. Most loud exhaust systems inakuanga tu ni kutoa silencer ama kitu inaitangwa resonator. It makes the car sound aggressive. Pia unafurahia na pia gari ikipita kwa street unasikia imeenda, but when you look at it hakuna mahali inaenda. It's very slow. That noise you're hearing is not backed by real power unless the rest of the engine supports it. So there are some vehicles ukichange exhaust it has to be tuned so that it works in conjunction with the change in back pressure. So and the next thing naweza waambia ni related to that word I've used, back pressure. So back pressure ni kama balance game for an easier term. Engines rely on carefully tuned back pressure to operate efficiently. So back pressure ni when the engine is working inahitaji kutoa exhaust gases, na hizo gases in terms of back pressure hazitakikani ziende zote ziache vacuum. So the size of the pipe na the types of resonators being used, the catalytic converter being used pale, alafu pia the back box na hizo kuna venye zimesetiwa so that they create some back pressure. Okay, so the moment umeenda umetoa kitu moja kwa hizo component umeharibu balance. Nimesema back pressure ni kama balance game. So too much back pressure, ukiweka resonator mingi ama muffler mingi ama kubwa, catalytic converter kubwa na nini, you're increasing back pressure. So now the engine is going to be struggling to breathe. But then again, too little back pressure, tuseme for example ni straight pipe. Straight pipe does not necessarily mean at a pipe straight. It means umetoa vitu kama catalytic converter, resonator, umetoa silencer. Ukitoa hizo vitu zote, when the back pressure is too little, it means you lose torque, especially at lower RPMs. So engineers wakidesign gari, wakidesign engine, the exhaust is also part of the equation. It is designed to perform specific to that vehicle. So modern exhausts zinakuanga engineered to create the right amount of flow and pressure, not just to meet noise laws. Kama kule majuu unasikia mambo ya noise, gari zinakuja na resonator mingi na pia silencer kubwa to reduce the amount of sound. So engineers engineer the exhausts, they are not just doing it for those to meet those noise laws, but they are doing it to balance performance, emissions, and also fuel economy. Okay, so now when you're messing with that exhaust without proper tuning, definitely you're going to gain noise, but you're going to lose power where it matters. Okay, so tuseme tu OEM exhausts ama original equipment manufacturer exhausts are not dumb. Manufacturers huwa hawaweki tu exhaust kwa gari randomly. You find a company spending millions in research and development just to design an exhaust system yenye itawak na emit the specified characteristics za engine yenye wanataka kutumia kwa specific car. So now they will consider airflow, catalytic converter placement, mambo ya vitu kama heat management. They are even going to know how sound affects your driving experience. So hizo vitu zote wamefanya research na nini, hawakutengeneza tu hiyo exhaust bure. They knew what they were doing. So when you throw a cheap aftermarket system without tuning the ECU ama adjusting parts of the engine, utapata tu hakuna mahali una increase power. Definitely you're not going to increase power. And kuna mtu anaweza uliza basi, when does an exhaust upgrade make sense? The only time it would make sense is if it's a well thought out performance build. So kama umeweka into consideration intake plus exhaust, unajua utafanya ECU tune, alafu unajua pia ina affect vitu kama turbo, ama pia unataka kuchange vitu kama camshaft na nini, only then does the louder free flowing exhaust support real performance gains. So final word on that ni ati allowed exhaust might turn heads, definitely. Kila mtu anataka kusikia gari iko na sauti poa ama iko na sauti kubwa, but unless you've done serious tuning, it's mostly just noise. See, hakuna horsepower una gain, hakuna torque una gain. So respect what the engineers have built. If you want power, you have to do it the right way, build it properly. And so unaona, that wraps up our part 2 of our myth busting series. Naweza taka mniambie, by the way, which one shocked you the most, ama ni gani wewe umekuwa ukifanya na huku unajua, or did you spot something that you have believed for years? Let's chat in the comments. Do not forget to like, subscribe and hit that bell so that you do not miss part 3. Tutakuwa na part 3 na nitaenda ni collect some of the myths and misconceptions zenye bado, because there are very many. And so kama kuna yenye pia unajua, you can also reach out to me so that we can do a research on it, alafu tuiongelee next time. So again, this is Mayson signing out from Auto Insights Kenya. So nasemanga Auto Insights is the ultimate destination for car enthusiasts and consumers. And from my side, naambia goodbye. Enjoy your weekend. This is Auto Insights. Welcome to another episode. Now, my name is Mayson Juguna. So, before niongee mingi show iishe, nitachia hapo and then rafiki yangu atatupeleka through the show. Thank you so much for your continued support. Thank you so much for your continued support.